I don't know if I'm going to enter my cowboy era. I don't know if I'm going to enter my fantasy era. We're going to enter some kind of era. Hey guys, what's up? It's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. It is long overdue for a vlog. It's been a real hot minute since I've read a sports romance. I did technically read a hockey arc at the beginning of the month, but I mean, I'm really not going to count that because we're all reading hockey romances, right? It's Monday, July 29th as I am filming this, and the Olympics just started the other day. I happen to love the Summer Olympics. They rank superior to me over the Winter Olympics. I just really love the gymnastics and the swimming. And anyway, like I said, it's been a hot minute since I've read a sports romance. So I decided for this vlog, while the Olympics is on in the background, I'm gonna read some sports romances. So I have chosen a gymnastics romance, a swimming romance, and then I'm currently searching for like tennis, golf, maybe basketball. I'm not sure yet. I'm still looking for that third book. To start, I'm gonna do Secret Plunge by Jasmin Miller. This is specifically about a retired Olympic swimmer that is training for one more season to come back to the Olympics, and it's a one-night stand secret pregnancy trope. I don't hate secret pregnancy like a lot of people do, so I did start this last night. I'm about 10% in, and it's pretty good so far. So I'm gonna keep reading this from my swimming romance. And then for gymnastics, I chose Lighter. This is an older book, came out in like 2015 or 2016. I've seen no one talk about this. I was just looking for a gymnastics romance and this popped up on Bookstagram. This is part one of a duet, and it's supposed to be like angst, trauma. Our female main character is running from an abusive household family, and she uses gymnastics as her crutch. I don't know, so I'm really excited for that one. I think it's definitely going to be a more serious one, but like I said, I am still looking for a third, maybe possible fourth book to read. I'll put some of the Olympics on in the background, and then I'm going to read more of this swimming book, and then I will give you guys an update. So update on Secret Plunge. This is an accidental pregnancy trope, and like I said, we have a retired Olympic swimmer. I am almost 40% through, and it's pretty decent, I will say. Like, it's keeping me invested. So basically, we have our two main characters. Obviously, it's a one-night stand. And so what makes it interesting is that our male main character, Ryan, so he's a retired Olympic swimmer, and he's trying to go back for one more Olympic. Well, his trainer, coach, is our female main character, Harper's father. And so she's like all set to tell him and everything about it. And then when they're talking and getting to know each other more, she learns that Ryan broke up with like his previous relationship because she was the daughter of somebody in his work life, and it like got messy. And so of course now our female main character has it in her head that she can't tell him that that's her father. You know, typical annoying romance drama crap that I guess you can't avoid. But yeah, it's decent. Like I said, I really like it. The characters aren't annoying me. I mean, I guess Harper's decision of not to tell Ryan who her dad is, but I don't know. I mean, this has only been like 5% of the book so far, so maybe she'll change her mind. I don't know. I can tell this is a companion novel series. I think there's 3 other books, but Ryan does talk about his 3 other swimmer friends. I want to say this is age gap. He's in his 30s and she's in her 20s. So fun stuff there. But yeah, so far for a sports romance and an accidental pregnancy, it's reading really fast. I'm not getting bored. It's just, I don't know what I can say. It's decent. So I'm going to try to finish it tonight so I can start the gymnastics one, because I'm really, really excited for that one. So I will give final thoughts when I finish up this book. All right, good morning. I'm in the process of waking up, but I finished Secret Plunge last night, so thought I would give you guys my thoughts and final updates. So this was a very decent, solid 3-star read. Like I said before, nothing groundbreaking, but it also wasn't boring. So I'm very picky with my ratings, and so I know a lot of people think 3 stars is like bad, but for me 3 stars is decent. So I will say though, like before, it was getting very annoying with the female main character just being so adamant about not telling Ryan that her dad is his coach. I don't get it. We're all adults here, but okay. Some 3rd act miscommunication drama, which is just annoying. Basically, Ryan gets a call in the middle of the night from his brother, and he has to take off. And he had been across the country with Harley, staying with her, because if I haven't mentioned before, they live on opposite sides of the country. That's kind of what the conflict is in this book. And he goes to visit her, and he takes off in the middle of the night, and so she just wakes up thinking he left her, because he didn't like leave a note or like tap her on the shoulder saying, hey, there's a family emergency and I need to get home. And I have to say, that is an irk for me in books when that happens, when a character just takes off, because, you know, all it takes is a second to just go, hey, I have to go. I'll explain later. Anyway, it was a nice, solid 3-star book. I was reading it, I was watching the men's swimming Olympics, and I realized that Ryan's name was Ryan Monroe. So you have Ryan Murphy, Ryan Monroe. I don't know if that was intentional, but I just kind of thought that was a funny little Easter egg. But yeah, like I said, just a simple 3-star, nothing groundbreaking, nothing terrible. But if you are looking for a swimming type of romance with Olympic sports, this was specifically Olympic swimming. As I said, he was training to go back to a final Olympics, and the epilogue was that Olympic. But yeah, then I did end up starting lighter as well. I got 30% into it, and I am really enjoying it so far. I have a feeling this is probably going to be in my top 10 reads of the year. I know that's early, but this is giving me Binding and Keeping 13 vibes. I'm just going to say that. It's part 1 in a duet. Our female main character has an abusive past with an abusive ex-boyfriend. That makes it a little different, but I would say she's kind of like a mix of Johnny and Shannon, because she's got the abusiveness of Shannon, but like Johnny, she is just so focused on gymnastics that she's just not going to let anything else distract her or get in her way or anything like that. Anyway, the setup for this story, it's a college romance. So our female main character, due to events that happened to her in high school with her abusive ex-boyfriend, she missed out on her dream school opportunity for gymnastics, for college gymnastics, and so she had to go to a community college. And so for her junior year, she gets to transfer and get this dream, and so she's just not going to let anything distract her. Gymnastics is her passion. It's what's going to keep her focused and moving forward. And then she meets our male main character, and he is a wrestler. He's the brother of her roommate, and he gives Johnny Kavanaugh vibes. He's just a huge cinnamon roll that wants to take care of her. He feels like something's wrong. And yeah, I'm really, really liking this story so far. So like I said, I'm 30% in. It's only 300 pages, so I have a feeling I'm going to fly through it, and then I'm probably going to jump to part 2 immediately. But yeah, those are my updates for now. I'm going to watch some more women's gymnastics, watch Simone Biles in the US kick butt. So those are my updates for now. Alright, so I ended up finishing Lighter yesterday. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to rate it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm really picky and I can't give it a perfect 5 just because I had a few things that just kind of annoyed me, starting with our male main character's name. I don't know if I mentioned in the last update, but we have our female main character, Sophie, and then we have our male main character, Kipton. I mean, that's a choice. I don't know, maybe it's like a southern name. They are in Alabama. I don't know, but I just wasn't vibing with the name Kipton. But I did really like him as an MMC. Like I said, he really gave me Johnny Kavanaugh vibes just with how he really wanted to protect Sophie and save her. So I guess let's just talk about her situation that she was running from. So I guess I'm gonna compare this a lot to Binding 13. I think that's the best comparison because most people have read that. So in that story, obviously Shannon has a really abusive dad and then a mom that just doesn't fight back and is so miserable, but she won't leave because she loves her husband. So that's pretty much the situation here, except the difference is that her dad doesn't hit her. He just screams at her and belittles her, whereas he hits her mom. And so during her childhood, she just had so much trauma from like witnessing all of this and then hiding in her closet. And so her mom just signed her up for a lot of extra gymnastics so she could get out of the house, and she just ended up really using that as her crutch to escape her family life. And then she explains that that's how she ended up with an abusive ex-boyfriend, because he kind of had some trauma at home, and so I guess they trauma bonded. And then, you know, as a typical douchebag teenage male, you know, he convinced her that if she really loved him, she would sleep with him, and then I guess he just got abusive. But he doesn't make an appearance in this book, so it makes me think that he's going to pop up in the second book, because I don't know why you would spend all that time developing that and then not go anywhere. Because I will say that the first book did not end on a cliffhanger like I thought. It kind of ends in a place where Sophie is going to work on herself, like after pushing through her trauma and realizing she kind of needs to deal with this in a different way. And so she kind of decides to take a break from gymnastics. But at the end of the book, she's really happy. You know, she and Kipton are happy. He's taking care of her. I also want to say, a lot like Binding 13, Kipton has a mom like Mama Kavanaugh that just wants to help her and take care of her and do things for her. So it was really great. I liked the story. I liked it for part 1. I did download part 2 weightless just because, since I am rating this for gymnastics and she kind of took a step back from gymnastics in part 1, I want to see what happens in part 2. Plus, obviously, the cover here, she's like wearing her Leo, so I'm thinking she's gonna step back into it. I did start it, I'm 20% in, and I'm enjoying it so far. But like I said, this was just a really fun hidden gem. I also want to touch on the fact that I have not really had a whole lot of enjoyable reads this year. I've been very slumpy, but I found myself just really enjoyed with this book. I don't know how else to put it, and I think I discovered why. So this book was written in 2015, and it does have spice in it, but it is very light on the spice. Like, it's just like a paragraph or two to make the point these two are sleeping together, and then you move on, and that's fine. And then, you know, I've noticed like this year with a lot of the books that I'm reading, I just feel like it's 3 to 4 pages of a smut scene, which is fine, but when you're spending 2 pages describing licking her folds, I just can't. I can't. Where's the plot at that point? So I really liked this book because it stuck with the plot. It was just sweet and wholesome, and the smut was there when it needed to be. Like, it wasn't taking over the book, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I could go on a whole gripe about that just because, like I said, I've just been so slumpy this year. And like, I don't think it's a mistake that all of my 5-star reads this year, which has only been a total of 5, are all wholesome, angsty kind of tearjerkers, I guess. But anyway, like I said, I really enjoyed this. So if you want to try a gymnastics, if you want to try something similar to Boys of Tommen, because we all know that that series leaves us in a huge slump afterwards, this was great. And it's just 300 pages. The second book is also 300 pages, so they read really quick. I don't know what else to say. So I'm going to move on from Weightless. And now we're going to get into that dilemma of what is the third book that I'm going to read for this vlog. So I did mention before I was kind of leaning towards like tennis, but I did actually a few days ago get an email. I was selected for the next book in that, what is it, playbook series? I don't know. What is the name of this series? I'm gonna look this up. Okay, it is the Grace Reilly series Beyond the Playbook, where the first 3 books cover brothers. They all live in the same house, but they all play different sports. So the first one was the football, then you have the hockey romance. The last one came out last year, was a baseball one, and this one is their little sister, and she is a volleyball player, and it's with a hockey player. So yes, it's a hockey, but it's, from what I understand, because it's her book, it's primarily volleyball. So I think I'm going to do that one just because volleyball is a Summer Olympic sport and I have never read a volleyball romance. So I think I might do that. And then, I don't know, kind of seeing how the vibes are going, maybe we'll continue this, because I did find a very angsty tennis romance that kind of looks interesting. I feel like I maybe need to throw in some LGBTQ representation in this vlog, so we're just gonna read and we're gonna see how the vibes go. I'm just a little tired today because I finally got to see Deadpool and Wolverine last night for a late showing, and it just got me so wired that when I got home, I ended up going on YouTube and looking at like Easter egg breakdowns and like theories of the future of the MCU and everything. Anyway, I didn't go to bed until like almost 6 o'clock in the morning because I was also kind of reading also at the same time. Anyway, I just, aside from reading, I am a huge nerd, like with Marvel and Star Wars. Like, I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Obviously. So yeah, that's just kind of my side thing. So this movie was so good, okay? And I've always loved Marvel, like even back in the early 2000s when it wasn't the MCU and we had the Fox characters and then Sony Spider-Man and all of that. Like, I was a teenager when those movies came out. Like, when the Fantastic Four with Chris Evans came out, that was one of the first movies that I got to see in the theaters without my parents. And so this movie was just so good. It was an audience experience. I loved every single minute of it. But anyway, Hugh Jackman was just hotter than ever in this movie. And so now I am like on this big time, I need some age gap daddy kink romances with like Hugh Jackman vibes. Like, I'm going to be fan casting him in all of my future age gap romances. So I kind of like took a little detour from the Olympic romances, but now that I've kind of like processed, made a list for Hugh Jackman, which I will be getting to, I promise, let's get back into this Olympic vlog, okay? That was like my little ramble on for other stuff. But anyway, okay, so I did end up starting Wicked Serve by Grace Reilly because I said I got an arc of this, but I've only read the first 2 chapters because as I was reading it, I just could not get gymnastics off of my mind. Gymnastics is my favorite of the Olympic sports. My daughter does competitive gymnastics, and I don't know, it's a fun sport to me. And so I ended up pausing Wicked Serve, and then I downloaded Burnout by jenshak. This book came out just a few months ago, and it is about a motocross racer and a gymnast who had formerly won silver at the Olympics, and then she had surgery and everything, and so now she's trying to come back to prove that she could win gold. And I'm really liking this. It's an enemies to lovers, and I know I've complained a lot in videos about enemies to lovers because I don't think you can call it that kind of book if they bicker for 2 chapters and then they're hooking up afterwards. No, I am 50% in, and these people have kissed and a little bit, but that's it. Like, at the beginning of the story, they hated each other. They did not have the best introduction or anything like that. But a little bit more of the story. He's in his early 20s and she is a college student. She had happened to help one of his motocross friends with like some exercises and some strength training to get him back on the track. And our male main character, Knox, he is in the process of trying to find like new sponsorships, new teams or whatever, because he had an incident before the book started where he collided with a teammate and his anger showed, and his manager didn't want to work with him anymore. And so he's just trying to get back out there, but he's having some trouble. And so his friend says, hey, Avery, she's really good, she can help you. And so a lot of this book is them working out at the gym and everything, his motocross stuff. He's also like taking care of his 4 younger brothers. It's a whole thing, but I'm really enjoying this. It's really, really good so far. Seriously, I cannot get enough of these gymnastics romances. Did actually want to see if this particular one was on Hoopla or Libby. It wasn't. I mean, it is a newer release, but when I typed in Rebecca Jenshak on Hoopla, I saw that she had an audiobook for Sweet Spot, and this is a golf romance. The audiobook is just under 7 hours, and I do listen at 2 times speed, so I know I can finish this in just like 3 hours. So I did start that. I'm already a quarter way through, and I am enjoying it. This is taking place at the same college as Burnout does, but it's like a standalone, its own thing. So we have our female main character, and she's like a golf prodigy, and she's just very, very frustrated with the women's golf team at the college because the coach, he's just very set in his coaching ways. He doesn't want to change anything. He doesn't want to bring in outside help. The boys golf team, they get like all of these clinics and everything like that, and her coach is just like, nope, you girls aren't doing that. You're mine. I'm going to coach you my way. So our male main character comes in, and I guess he was a former golf prodigy, and he like now has his own company where he helps other athletes like get better with skills. I don't know. And so he's met her, and he wants to offer his like help with her and her team, and her coach is just not having it. But I'm only a little bit of the ways through, and I have been listening to it while I've been doing some chores around the house. I do need to do my nails later, so I'll probably like listen to that while I do that. But yeah, those are kind of the 3 Olympic books I have going on. I am gonna keep going back with Wicked Serve, but just right now it's the gymnastics. It's taken over my life. Real life too, because I'm just gonna tell you, as a parent of a competitive gymnast who is only 9 years old, like she does not do elite or anything like that. She's like a beginner. It's pretty spendy, okay? Like I'm currently in the process of trying to figure out how I'm going to afford this current gymnastics year. But anyway, yeah, those are my reading updates. I am gonna try to finish Burnout first, but like I said, I am listening to Sweet Spot around the house while I get some things done. So those are my 2 priorities right now, and then we will kind of wrap it all up with Wicked Serve. I might throw in one more book because I did say that I wanted to read that Tennis romance, so we'll just kind of see how the vibes are going today. It is super hot, it is super bright out, but it is later in the afternoon. I just dropped my daughter off at her gymnastics practice, so I thought I would swing by Barnes & Noble because I haven't been here in like 2 weeks. I feel like that's the perfect excuse to be here. So I'm just gonna kind of go inside and see what they have, but I don't really have any reading updates. I've only listened to a little bit more of the audiobooks. I don't really have anything new. So like I said, we're just gonna kind of go inside, see what they have, and then maybe I'll find some cool shit. I don't know, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll waste money that I should probably be saving, and I'll waste it on a book that I'll never end up reading. But you know what? That's the life of us readers. Alright, so that was just a nice little quick trip. There really wasn't much. I was going to try to grab Five Brothers by Penelope Douglas because I only have the proofread arc, and so I wanted to get the finalized edition, but then I remembered that I'm pretty positive that Target has an exclusive edition, so I feel like if I'm going to own more than one edition of this book, I need to make it different than the other one. But I did grab a few books. So I did grab The Pucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane. This series is so unhinged and so toxic. I've talked about it in a few videos, but this series got picked up by a publisher, so they all got new covers, and I really liked this, so I just kind of jumped at grabbing that because, you know, I waste my money on books. It's just kind of who I am. And then I also grabbed Unwanted by Mia Sheridan. Is a rewrite. Apparently it was originally called Savaged, but I think this got picked up by Bloom Books, and so they changed the cover, they changed the title, but I really love Mia Sheridan's writing. It kind of hits every time, so excited to add that to my pile. But I have listened to more of Sweet Spot by Rebecca Jenshak, and still not a lot of updates, but I guess I do have one. I don't think I mentioned it in my first, but the main character Lincoln is newly divorced, and his grandma, bless her sweet soul, she's just trying to fix him up constantly. So he constantly finds himself over at her house for dinner, meeting all these random women, and he's just not for that. Also, this is an age gap. He's in his 30s, and then our female main character Kira is in college, so she's in her 20s. But I'm just liking this so far. It's fast, it's quick, it's entertaining. I like it. I'm having fun with this vlog because I love sports romances, but all of these are just non-traditional sports, and it's just nice to read something that's not, you know, trending and hot, like, you know, hockey and football and all that. It's just nice to try something new, and I have definitely found some books that I'm really enjoying. But I did just get home. I have a little while before I have to go pick up my daughter from gymnastics, so I'm probably gonna maybe read a little bit more of Burnout, and then I'll listen to more of my audiobook when I get back in the car. But those are just kind of my updates for now, so I don't know if I'll update again tonight, tomorrow. We'll just kind of see where the evening goes. In the past 2 days, I did end up finishing Burnout and Sweet Spot, so I'll just give you guys my final thoughts. But first, Burnout. I really did enjoy this. I think I'm gonna rate it like a 4.25, just because, like I said, I'm very picky with my ratings, but I did like this. I really liked how they were both separately focused on their own goals and dreams, while also having really good chemistry with each other. Conflict in this story is that Knox, the male main character, he's not looking for a relationship, and Avery also wasn't looking for a relationship either. She kind of had bad luck with a former boyfriend, and so when they finally get together, it's like an agreement of, hey, we're just gonna hook up. But it's funny because when they do first start hooking up, Avery makes it clear she doesn't want to have sex because that's just too intimate. So if that kind of paints a picture to you of like how they're hooking up, but like they're scared of the commitment, I don't know. It was a fun story. It was great enemies to lovers. It was a great sports romance. I always like when you can find a sports romance where both of our main characters are an athlete. But I just really like this one. This had a lot of gymnastics in it, and it was great. It was fun. I don't really know what else to say. But then I finished Sweet Spot, the audiobook of this, last night. I ended up playing GTA Online and just sailing through this audiobook. Audiobook people will like cross stitch or do puzzles, which I'll do puzzles or colors sometimes, but mainly I play video games when I listen to audiobooks, like Animal Crossing, Paper Mario, sometimes The Sims, or GTA, because I can just get in the car and do all the missions and stuff. And I'm telling you, you sail through these audiobooks. So if you're ever like wanting to maybe try an audiobook, but you're looking for things to do while you're listening and you don't want to do chores, gaming is great. But anyway, Sweet Spot was nice. It was decent. I'm gonna rate it a 3.5. It wasn't boring. It was fun. I've mentioned before that a lot of times when I listen to audiobooks, I always wonder if I would have liked this book less if I had read it versus listening to it. But like I said, listening to it was an enjoyable experience. So like I had mentioned, our female main character Kira, she is a college golf athlete, and she's just trying to be better and win tournaments and stuff like that, but her coach sucks, and he's just very stuck in his ways and coaching his team the way he wants to. Lincoln, our male main character, he's in his 30s, and like I said, he has this company where he helps athletes improve their skills and stuff, and so he offers his services to Kira. And so the book is like a friends to lovers thing. They like get closer and everything like that. I also had mentioned that Knox has his grandma meddling in his life because he is a recent divorcee. So it was just fun. I liked it. Once again, we have another sports romance where both characters are involved in athletics. So it made it really fun. Right, and then I'm not really that far into Wicked Serve. I'm about 10% in. I don't know. The last Grace Reilly book I read, the Stealing Home the Baseball one, it was decent, but I found myself skimming a lot. So I'm really trying to give Wicked Serve the time and love it deserves. So far, it's an interesting setup. I don't know if I mentioned before, but this is brother's rival. So Cooper, the male main character from the second book, the hockey one, it's his rival. Story is set up, he went to a different college, and I guess he gets expelled from his college. And his grandfather, from what I understand so far, is the head of the Russian mafia. So he has like pulled some strings and gotten Nikolai into Cooper's college. But he said that the trade-off for this is that he's only going to be allowed to play hockey this last senior year, and then he belongs to his grandfather. He's going to go work for the family business. This is something Nikolai does not want. He wants to like pursue a professional hockey career. So I can definitely tell this is going to cause a lot of conflict in the story with that. And then our female main character, Isabel, is Cooper's little sister. She's a volleyball player. So like I said, only 10% in, not a lot, but that's just basically the setup so far. So I'm going to try to make that priority. Last night I also did start an soccer romance. I think it's called, is it Game On, Play On, something like that. It's by Rebecca Rath. I read the first book in this series in February. Was it Head in the Game? This is an age gap romance between a football player and his coach. And I'm just going to say that this is probably my favorite book that I've ever read. It was really good. And so I have high hopes for this second one. It's supposed to be stepbrothers, and like I said, it's a soccer romance. So I've only read the prologue, but from what the prologue did, it has sold me so far. So I'm kind of thinking those are going to be the books that I finish this out with. Who knows? Maybe I'll get crazy and add another book, but that's just kind of the vibes, and we're just going to continue the day. Okay, it has been a few days. I'm not entirely sure how many days it's been, but my momentum in this vlog kind of slowed down from Wicked Serve, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned before, but I really enjoyed the first book in this series, the fake dating football one. I really liked it. The second one, the hockey one with the coach's daughter, it was okay. The third one, the baseball one, was very meh. And it's the same situation with this fourth one. So I was excited for this. I really like when it's a rival type of situation, whether it's your boyfriend's rival, your brother's rival, something, because it gives a lot of tension and angst to the story. The problem with this book is that when the story starts, they've already been together. So this book, you're missing their initial like meet cute, that attraction, that chemistry, and we don't have any of that. We don't have any of that buildup. We don't have any of that tension of Isabel, the female main character, like, oh, my brother hates this guy, I can't be with him. No, we don't have any of that. Basically, what happened was Isabel worked for Nikolai's mother over the summer. She like owns a party planning company or wedding plan, something like that, and Isabel worked for her and they got together. But we don't get any flashbacks. We don't get any of that. So you miss all of that context, which I feel like is an important key factor in a romance. So this could have read like a second chance, because when the book picks up, they're not together. Because like I had mentioned before, he was expelled from his college, and so he transfers to hers, but they just kind of immediately like get back together. So it just, I don't know. Also, the whole mafia thing. Okay, so I was mistaken. So his father is Russian and plays Russian hockey, is like this Russian hockey superstar. And his mother is American, and it's his mother's father, his grandfather, that made the business deal. There also really wasn't any tension with that either. Like, there wasn't like this whole ultimatum, anything with that. It all fell very flat. Okay, then I guess a little bit about Isabel, the volleyball player aspect of it. I did like that side of it because what's been very adamant in this entire series is that these 4 kids, their dad was an NFL star. And so all 4 of them just kind of picked a sport, and they're this super athletic family. Isabel, or Izzy as her family calls her, her conflict is that because she plays volleyball, she knows that out of every single sport, this really isn't going to lead anywhere, like the NFL, the NHL, MLB, all of that stuff. And so she knows that when college is over, she needs to figure out what's next. And so that's kind of where her working for Nikolai's mother came in, because she really discovered she loves party planning. She's a fashionista. There were a lot of Blair Waldorf references. So I really did like that side of the story. But the other side, it just fell flat. So for me, I don't know, 2.5. I'm gonna have to sit on it. Final book in this vlog, Man On. I know I got the name of this wrong in the last clip, but like I said before, this is an stepbrother soccer college romance, and I really liked this one. I knew going into it, it was gonna be a lot of smut. This author is very well known for smut, but I didn't know that this was going to also have very heavy topics and a heavy story. So we have our 2 characters, Noah and Lane. And what's interesting about this is that Noah was basically raised by his father and then his stepmother, Hannah. His stepmother was in the picture before his stepbrother, Lane, came into the picture. Lane was raised by his very religious grandfather, and then when he died, his mother got custody of him and brought him into the family fold when the boys were 14. And since then, they always had this tension. Noah always noticed that Lane was looking at him, and so he would kind of give him a hard time about that. Then you flash forward to the present day. They are 18 and they are freshmen in college. They're going to be sharing a dorm together, and Noah just kind of realizes things about Lane. He realizes that, you know, he is gay, but Noah is the one that can get him to release that tension without outwardly expressing that, without outwardly saying that he's gay. As you get further along into the book, you actually realize that Lane was raised on a really religious compound cult thing that did a lot of indoctrinating to kids. Basically, in the present day, this cult had been found out by the feds. There are documentaries going on. They're trying to get testimonies from Lane and his mother. So all of this is just coming out. I realize all the torture and abuse that he has gone through. And like I said, it was just some heavy stuff. And Noah is just this playful, lighthearted guy that he realizes something's wrong and he's trying to help his stepbrother through it. Lane also had a lot of panic attacks and PTSD, as he rightfully should, and Noah just knew how to pull him back. So I really did like how this story had a lot of heaviness to it. There was very little soccer, but that's okay. It was a fun book. It was a fun story. This was a fun vlog. I really liked being able to do nothing but read sports romances for a week and a half. It was just fun. As I am filming this right now, the Summer Olympics have officially wrapped up. I believe the closing ceremony was this morning. So yeah, now it's time to move on to things. I'm burned out from sports romances. So I don't know if I'm going to enter my cowboy era. I don't know if I'm going to enter my fantasy era. We're going to enter some kind of era. All right. Well, I will keep you guys posted. Stay tuned. As always, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.